Hello, everyone. Dave here again. Today I'm going to be talking about how to recognize AI chatterbots, what chatter is, what a chatterbot is, what their purpose is, how to spot them. A friend sent me this information, and he even put some of his experience in there. Um, and I fell for this a lot, and this dude warns me about this all the time, and he sent me good information, so I thought I would share it with everybody, especially if you are on Facebook, X, YouTube, Discord, anywhere, any social media thing. There's chat bots to engage you, and I'll explain. First, I'm going to read Isaiah 40:31 from the 1611 King James Version. It says, "But they that wait upon the Most High shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." I've took about 4 or 5 days off from researching and stuff due to heavy attacks. Um, been doing a lot more garlic. I'm fixing to be going over my body with a stun gun EMP again. And just keep on doing stuff like that, trying to keep my body free of metals, stuff like that. Um, and you know, there's stuff you can do to utilize that to try to keep your body detoxing in tip-top shape. Uh, and fasting helps. Due to my well, I'm not gonna get into that, but anyway, I'm just gonna get into the information. But anyway, so I've stopped researching for about 4 or 5 days, took the day off. I did the interview with Lorraine Sunday, but other than that, I really haven't been active and really doing nothing. I put out some uh motivation videos, but I haven't been active on social media or nothing because I was being hit so hard. Like I had to focus on getting responsibilities done around here, and the level I was being hit just made me, I was doing good just to get that done. Severe nausea, vertigo, dizziness, shocks to the brain, vibrations from feet to the top of my stomach. So you could say feet to chest, confusion, uh, disorientation, just feel like you're basking in radiation soup. One thing that did help me one day, but see, you never can be sure something's helping because what they do is, they like if I unplugged everything in the house, I unplugged everything, in our area, and it seemed to help. And then I went and took a Epsom salt bath and all that. It seemed to help, but you never know because what they do is neuro tricks. So if you find shielding that works, make sure the shielding works for like 2 or 3 months straight before you tell anybody. Because with these neuro tricks, what they'll do is you'll buy shielding, you'll try a new shielding, and they know you're going to try it, so they'll stop attacking you. So then you go tell it, but really you think it's the shielding working, so you go tell all your friends who are TIs, and they go out and spend this money on this shielding, or they go out and try this and waste their time and all that, and it don't work for them. So then they think you perped them and told them false information on purpose, or had them running down a false rabbit hole. So then they start hitting you a week later, and you realize you've been fooled. It's called neuro tricks, is what Robert Duncan used to call it. Okay, so AI chatterbots. Uh, and my friend even put an experience in here. I stay away from calls, and I'm not telling people to stay away from calls because if you've got good discernment, you can. I used to use the calls all the time back in 2018. There were certain calls I can't even remember the person. Calls I went to. They were on the West Coast. Me and Lynette used to go to them together. But if you know how to navigate these calls, and then you know what to look for. So anyway, I'm gonna keep this person's identity a secret, not a secret, just private, because I really haven't had a chance to get in touch with him to see if I have permission to share. So, and the only reason, I don't want to share because I don't want to share his experience without his permission, which I'm sure it's no problem. But okay, here's how to recognize AI chatterbots. And this person warns me of this all the time. He says, David, you're not, you know, that comment you just answered, that is just to probe you for a response. That's not even a real person. And I fall for it a lot. So I need to take my own information here, my own advice here. How to recognize AI chatterbots. A chatterbot is an automated AI special language software program to recognize these disinformation, misinformation, misdirection attacks. One first must understand the difference between a chatterbot and a chatterbox. Chatter is a term used by intelligence communities to describe the aggregate or total amount of communication via any form of media and is used by those entities for statistical analysis to predict the potential outcome of any given situation, such as when there's a possible terrorist attack looming or the outcome of a forthcoming election. Chatterboxes, on the other hand, are a weapon system used to drive people into dysfunctionality or even insanity, help and train the cognitive functions of the brain, depattern personalities using psychological depression, split personalities, program assassins, or even deprogram them. Language is a powerful tool in programming humans. And that's per Dr. Robert Duncan, neuroscientist, Project Soulcatcher, page 214. A chatterbot is a single automated AI special language program. A chatterbox is a group of two or more automated AI special language software programs targeting the victim or group simultaneously. This is important because you will very rarely only ever encounter just one of these online, especially if you are a targeted civilian, activist, dissident, or whistleblower. In mind control technologies, the main purpose of chatterboxes, or bots as they're often called, is for neural linguistic programming to keep the minds entrained and hypnotized with automata, brainwash them through repetition, aid in personality alterations, and distract the mind to dysfunction via repetition as torture, utilizing sensation methods to phrases and words. Online chatterbots often start sentences using explicitives, profanities, or phrases that will quickly draw the target's immediate attention, like wow, holy crap, or fire. I need to tell you something. Or can I ask you a question? So if you see a pattern of these phrases developing during a chat or online conversation with someone, then realize you're talking to a chatterbot. Now that's not always the case. So you got to use discernment. Online chatterbot boxes are used over the internet to sow dissension and to disseminate false information so as to control, infiltrate, manipulate the flow of online information to warp real-time discourse and online activism through disinformation, which is lies, and misinformation, which is half-truths, by engaging in misdirection or cyber theater techniques and tactics against those who try and expose the truth. Another thing to look for, usually, and I'm sorry if I've done this to you, but if I see somebody who just made a YouTube today comment on my channel, I block them from being able to comment. Um, you know, and real target individuals and people who's been around a long time already know that's why I do that. Chatterbots are often used as moderators in real space groups or conference calls and support groups to take control of the conversation. Many subjects can be fooled for long duration. The flaws that make subjects realize they're talking to a machine are numerous. The vocabulary is limited. The conversation topics are limited. There's little memory and logic inference. And the language is too perfect for a human to spit out in a normal conversation. To err is human, and chatterbots are not programmed to err in grammar or spelling. While error could be programmed into the chatterbot, it would be counterproductive to overall objective in training the mind or capturing target long-term attention. Um, AI chatterbots, and that's per Robert Duncan, Project Soulcatcher 217. AI chatterbots allow the contractors to use any voice via voice modulation software or image. They never tire out. This allows for infinite automation of the never-ending online conversation or argument. The technologies of these automated AI special language software programs are so sophisticated and advanced that unless you can see these online patterns of speech and behavior developing, you will have no idea you are communicating with or talking to or arguing with a computer program. One way you stop online chatterbots from being used against you is to determine in advance before the call or broadcast begin who can speak and who exactly can speak or who cannot. Any questions of the listening audience can be made through the chat room to the moderator, who asks the guest speaker his or her opinion on the matter. Another way is to force all guest speakers into video format and not allow them to engage you or others on the call with an anonymous name, picture, or number. I hear these chat, and I know that that kind of sucks for people who try to remain anonymous. Um, but that's just giving the person, I think, is just giving advice on how to run a proper call, or a TI Zoom call, or TI conference call, stuff like that properly. Um, I hear these chatterbots often on target, and this is his experience, target individual support group calls and broadcasts. They're programmed to sow dissension, disseminate false information in support groups, or to put into the group with fanciful and fantastic information, discredit real victims, just like online trolls. Chatterbots are not just used to spread disinformation, which are lies, and misinformation, half truths, or even misdirection, which is cyber theater, but to constantly disrupt the conversation of real target individuals who are speaking. They are there to capture the victim's attention and provoke the victim into emotional responses, which can be remotely measured and integrated back into remote neuromonitoring data. Often these chatterboxes will yell, scream, cry, use gratuitous profanity, provoke real people into debates or arguments. They will even start talking to or arguing with other chatterbots inside the same group or call. They will talk about the weather, or current events, or even about their mean boss or coworker at work, describe to you their pet or dog, or how their parrot was stolen, even their previous childhood memories, or about how much they love Jesus. Now, this is him. This is his experience. Now, am I saying everybody that talks about that stuff is a chatterbox? No. So please do not take this information and think everybody. You can recognize patterns in these calls, and you can recognize patterns on your YouTube channel, or uh, commenting on your X post, or Facebook post. Um, you can determine eventually if they're real or not. Uh, there is just one problem, though. They're not real. They do not exist. Will never exist. They're just the automated AI special language software programs and nothing more. Chatterbots are used to prevent credible sources of information from developing, and to stop that credible information from getting back to legitimate victims or the public at large. And I think I need to go into one more thing. We'll talk about trolls. And I got some good evidence. The other night, I was calling Holly. I was in the house, but I was calling Holly. I was in bed calling Holly because I was being lazy. I called her on FaceTime, which I never do, and somebody answered her FaceTime, and I screenshot it. Uh, so I have that evidence. Now, it's rare to get good evidence that and the same person answered 3 months ago, FaceTime. It's hard to get good evidence, and I have that evidence. So I try to find evidence that there's no plausible deniability, and I'm not saying don't keep your evidence, even because I got a lot of evidence that has a lot of plausible deniability, but it's hard to get good evidence that there's no doubt about it, there's no plausible deniability. Um, and I was trying to find something I wrote about trolls, because while we're talking about this, we need to talk about trolls. So anyway, uh, chatterbots and chatterboxes are to map your brain out too. So don't think, oh, it's just, well, even if I answer, there's no problem. It's they're made to engage you. And if I can't find the trolls, I'll do that a different day. Because what I do is when I write information down or write something to share with y'all, out to do a video, I will put it in a special place on my phone. And uh, so then I just got a whole list, and I can just go through uh, my stuff that I've wrote. Mm, okay, here we go. What are trolls? Trolls deserve a mention. Trolls is a term for psychological illness where people on the internet infiltrate groups or any cause enjoy pretending they're in one of their group and creating strife through rumors, spoofing other people's identities. This is an outlet for sociopaths and anarchists. Trolls are experts at getting under your skin and use fake identities because they're cowardly acts that would classify libel, stalking, and harassment. There's another group of paranoids that hang in the internet support groups that don't have any strategy to fix their situation and think everyone's a troll, agent, or perp. They accidentally do the dirty work to these classifications of people. They have a multivariable large chess game to play, psychological war games. Not everyone understands game theory and just react to each confrontation they encounter. Only those that see the future and many moves ahead of time can be useful to change the future if they know how to change the rules of the game and get out of their Skinner box. The only practical advice is to ignore them. If you're on Facebook, you can report them, but they would just create new accounts. Most troll accounts have very little history, few friends, or some clues to avoid, and few friends, and are some clues to avoid friending them. The support groups you can do nothing about and hope the moderator can remove them, but sometimes the moderator falls into the antagonist roles. Drama is an addiction for some people. Look at how popular soap operas are. With all those signals and pain induced into a target, it's difficult for them not to become bipolar and experience extreme emotions and become overly sensitive to attacks on their character. We will discuss strategy in more detail later. Strategy is the art of seeing all possibilities, giving your opponent's rational countermoves as many levels as the wargame master. The most important skill to learn in strategy is usually learned in business school, military, or simple same games of chess. Psychological warfare games are no different. They know the possible moves you will make and how to silence your voice. Most TI protectors are not very responsible and are waiting for a confession 50 years later, which is useless to alleviate any suffering now but will occupy your emotions and time. Learn from their failures. We hope we can speed it up so it wasn't a strategy of observing, but one to fast forward in the outcome to alleviate the pain of those suffering. Remember that most TIs mean well, but they don't understand the strategy. Longer they have been a target shows that they now I don't the longer they have been the longer that they're engaging in this behavior and that they've been a target shows they've never broke through the game. Don't assume in this case that time equals wisdom. Always look for newer researchers who are smart and have creative ideas. And I hope that helps somebody today. I was asked to share that. And I really think it's important because, uh, I get, I've got several calls over the years from this person saying, David, you're talking that's not real. So it's not just in conference calls, and I realize these conference some conference call people that run conference calls are very sincere and try their best. But I've been talking with this dude, and there is a way to make sure that everybody in the conference call is a real person. Um, and uh, and this person has tried to give a couple people advice on this, and they just won't listen. Um, and somebody asked me to start a conference call, but I'm just too busy with my responsibilities around here, and dealing with emails and stuff like that, to uh do something like that right now. Always on and if you're doing stuff on YouTube and trying to help TIs and stuff, always do your responsibilities first. They have to come first because if you don't get your responsibilities at home done first and foremost and take care of what's your responsibilities at home, then you already know what happens. Everything goes downhill. Um, I'm constantly got chatterbots in my head saying stuff in my head all the time, talking negative, commenting on everything I say, threatening me. But I've learned over the years on how to deal with it by day by day. And multitasking is one thing that really helps me getting projects going. So I'll have chatterbots in my ear. David, you're stupid. David, you're gonna fail this. David, why are you trying that? That's impossible. David, you got 100 emails to answer. David, it's all coming crashing down. David, sometimes it works, especially when I'm in my obsessive compulsive mode and I feel like everything's overwhelming. I did get out the other day. I went to a fast food restaurant with Holly. Um, I had to take some medicine before I left, and um, and uh, uh, I had a panic attack. But it's all good. At least I'm trying. Um, however, because if you're really agoraphobic and you go out, it feels like you're looking for exits everywhere. You're running scenarios through your mind, then you feel like, and then you see all this stalking going on, gang stalking, following, and then everything just gets overwhelming. Then you can't breathe. You feel like your throat's closing up. You start trying to, so I'm learning. It's not easy. Uh, but that is progress. Uh, so anyway, God bless all TIs. Uh, I do have some stuff in the works, and I am trying to put together a video on influence mapping, and that's very important. So, influence mapping is very important to understand as a TI, especially because they use that to manipulate a lot of your friendships, relationships, family relationships. So but it's very hard to break down. So, I got somebody that's going to help me with that. We're going to collaborate and write something. So anyway, because if you look up influence mapping, you're going to get business models and all that. But to break it down in TI world, it's very important because it's a tactic that's used more often than people even realize. And I feel like a bunch of my relationships were destroyed through influence mapping. So anyway, God bless all TIs. Um, Satanic ritual abuse survivors, MK Ultra survivors, any mind control survivor, any non-consensual experimentee, um, um, and even those who are curious and listening with an open mind, and even those who have closed mind. God bless all y'all. May the Most High keep y'all.